We can ask about the US-China spat over airlines shortly. But first, your views on this relaunch plan. What are the initiatives that you're outlining? What are the priorities for the travel industry at this point?
Yeah, thanks for having me. We have seen a good recovery within domestic China. And on March the 7th, we launched our recovery plan for domestic China business, and it has been proven very successful. Now we have, again, seen the good demand within Asian countries, such as Korea, Japan, Thailand, Singapore, etc. So we launched our Google Trip.com trend analysis, showing that the data from these countries are very strong. The most popular travel destination so far is Thailand, Japan. The most popular cities people want to visit are Bangkok, Seoul, and Shanghai. So teaming up with our partners, we launched the Travel Recovery V Plan, V standing for victory.
Jane, I know in the first quarter conference call that you gave and you discussed, along with the founder, of course, and the CFO, you talked about revenues in the first quarter falling about 40% year on year. And you talked about a recovery being back on track. And you've touched on that, of course, in terms of the domestic side of the business. What are booking volumes looking like now? Where do you expect them to go into the second half? And how do they compare domestic versus international?
Yeah, domestic travel has been well on track for recovery, depending on the business line. Some of the business lines, such as rental car, has fully recovered and showing a positive year-over-year growth. Some of them are recovered anywhere between 50% to 80%, depending on the year, depending on the days of the week. So far, we have seen a very good recovery within domestic China. Now, the second phase for us is going to be how we can lead the recovery within Asia. And for the countries who have demonstrated their ability to control the outbreak of the virus, we have seen very healthy demand as well. Countries such as Thailand, Korea, and Singapore have seen a strong indication for the demand.
We've seen, of course, the concern about second wave outbreaks, and we've seen an outbreak here in Beijing and flights cancelled out of the city to other cities around China. There are concerns about this happening, of course, in other countries around the world. What changes do you have to make at Trip.com to make sure that you are agile enough to navigate that kind of environment?
Yeah, I think in terms of Beijing, it's a much more smaller scale. If you counter the people who are newly infected, it's only about 30, 40 people. And the government took very decisive measures to contain it. And so far, it has been very successful. Compared to 20,000 or more than 10,000 for the rest of the world, I think the government has done an excellent job containing it. For travel, I think we need to be prepared. It's never going to be zero. But within a good control system, we can still revitalize the travel business. So what we have seen is, first of all, people are more conscious about being safe. So we published the travel guideline for safe travel with WTTC, World Tourism Organization. The second thing is people prefer to travel within smaller groups, such as within their families, within a small friends group who they know are very healthy to travel with. The third one is a lot of people, because they cannot travel abroad, a lot of demand from outbound will be converted to domestic travel. So we need to prepare for the packages and handle these travel packages very well.
Jane, David here. So I guess we understand as well that your plans for your overseas business as well, and the objective is, if I'm not mistaken, to get about half of your revenues within about 4 years from the international business. Has this virtual halt that we're looking at right now in international travel mostly, has that put off that timetable?
I think for domestic travel, we're very positive for the recovery. For international travel, we have seen certain countries already pick up their demand. So that's why we launched our Travel On campaign for Korea, Thailand, Singapore, etc. Because based on our ability to serve these customers, we feel these countries' business will gradually recover as well. And then the third step probably will be how we can travel across different countries. Now, with the advancement in the vaccine and research, we hope the vaccine will solve lots of concerns for travelers for the rest of the year.
Jane, we touched on this disagreement between the US and China over passenger carriers between the two countries. Do you have any insight into when or if that will be resolved? And how are you bracing yourself for the potential of increased tensions between the two countries leading up to the elections in November?
I think the two governments are in talk. We very much hope that the flight number will satisfy the customers. For us, we always focus on our customers. We see a lot of customers would like to make their trip to the USA, and the reverse is the same. And there is a demand. Hopefully, we'll be able to provide the best service for our customers.